Good evening. It's Friday, June 18th. This is that bowl I threw last night. It's kind of heavy. Have plenty of clay to remove from it. The process of throwing a pot and then trimming it, however many hours later, it occurred to me just now is, by analogy, it's a little like, throwing a ball up in the air and then coming back the next day to catch it when it comes down. Luckily, depending on how you store them or set them out, you don't have to be there at exactly the right moment. Obviously, if you're someplace with very low humidity, that's less true. You're more likely to get it wrong. So when I started back in 1979, one of my initial challenges with trimming, and this was at Grinnell College, and my teacher would have us trim on a kick wheel, which I recommend actually. If you have the option, that's probably the single greatest reason to have just a plain kick wheel in your studio, is that it's ideal for the trimming process. And I say that because at some point, when you kick the wheel, you get it up to speed, and it gradually slows down. At some point in that gradual decline of speed, you'll be at just the right speed. And hopefully you'll be aware and paying attention, and you'll go, oh, okay. And then, of course, it's going too slow. If all your wheels as a student are motorized, well, then it's pretty much pure luck, as if you're going to figure out what the correct speed is for each part of the operation. A good teacher can look over your shoulder and say, you might want to slow down, or I think you need more speed because right now everything's happening too slowly, that kind of thing. But that takes a very attentive teacher, and many teachers, frankly, have too many students at the same time. Anyway, I was going to say, so I was, learning how to trim, and I was converted stone carver. So often my trimming was on pots that really had waited too long, because I was used to the stone, waiting as long as I needed it to wait. But there was a point I remember where trimming was making me nauseous. I would get dizzy and come close to throwing up. And that was because I was looking at something irrelevant. Some part of the thing was going round and round and round, and that would get me dizzy. I don't think I was the only one ever to have that happen, and it's one of these odd little problems where the only solution, it's like that joke, doctor, it hurts when I do this, is when the doctor says, well, don't stop doing that. And that's pretty much what I had to do, is I had to figure out what not to look at, what not to allow to influence my mind. So this has been on a bat, which means that this clay right now that I'm dealing with is pretty close to being just as wet as when I threw it, in spite of it being, 24 hours later. Which is fine. I can be gentle and take care. So if you're a new ceramic student and you're having trouble trimming, feel free to ask your teacher. They were all beginners once too. Nobody learns this in the womb. And if And if they can't help you, there's probably somebody else who can say, I had just that same problem. Anyway, have a good evening.